Alright, so I'm going to be showing how to do a service for Apretaste, and I'm going to assume that you already had the Apretaste development environment installed in your app, installed and running. So if you download the zip file and you started your application using background up, you probably have a lot of these errors, but at the very end it will be executed. And now when you access to 127.0.0.0.1.80.80, you should have this page here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to access to the site where the environment was installed, and I'm going to let me share my screen. So I'm going to access to the site when the application is installed, when the development environment is installed, and you're going to see the folder sandbox. Now inside the folder sandbox, you should see the whole sandbox of Apretaste. The one that we create right now is the folder services. It's going to have probably all the services that you develop for Apretaste, and we're going to build a new one. So I'm going to copy and paste this folder, which is the example folder, and what we're going to do, we're going to create a service that connects to these websites, which is like quotes, and download and create a new quote from the email. So I'm coming here, and I'm going to call the folder frase, which means quote in Spanish. And I'll have three files: the service.php file, which is the one that cares of your logic, the configuration file that tells how the service works, and an interface, a template. So I'm going to start by opening my configuration file. And let me share my configuration file with you. This is how the configuration file looks like. So I'm going to, because I call my folder frase, I'm going to change everything where it says service name to frase. And here I add a little description of what my application does. I think here I had to type what is the type of application I'm building. In this case, I'll put also. I can get rid of this. This space is a little help of what the application will do and how to use it. So I only have to change this part with whatever result you're going to get from Apretaste. Be sure to type your real email here. So this email won't be public, but it would allow us to contact you in case we need to talk about your service in any way. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to open the folder, the file service.php. And let me show you what I'm doing. So I have now service.php. When I open it with Sublime, and because we're going to need it as well, I'm going to open the template with Sublime. And let me go back to Sublime, and now we're going to have the file service.php, and we have to replace this text by the name of your service starting with capital case. So this is how a service is composed. So we're going to have a function main, and that function main will receive a request. That request will contain the subject line of the email the user sent. So if the user sent an email saying frase, so this mail will be executed, and in the request we're gonna have the user who sent it, the time, and all details about the service requested. So if we go here to the sandbox, let me show what it is. If we go back to the sandbox and instead of going to services, we go into classes, and I open the folder, the class, what is it? Request. So I'm going to open the class request Sublime. So here is all the parameters you're going to be receiving in your request. So it's going to be the user email, the username in case he or she added it, subject line, the body. So subject line is whatever they send in the subject of the email, and the body is the body of the email. And the attachments is all the attachments, an array of objects that are the attachments of the email. And here the service is the name of the service that invoke. So in this case it will be frase and subservice. We're not going to use it now, but that will be if they do frase and they put another subservice inside next to it. So it will be here. And query is whatever is after the service. So they put frase followed by whatever text. So this text is the one we're going to receive in query. And in this case, we're not going to use it, but query is extremely useful to build applications like Wikipedia. When you have to type Wikipedia and then something to search for in Wikipedia, that's how you use query. So going back to service, so we receive the request, and what we're going to do, we connect to that page. We're going to get the information from that page, and then we're going to return a response. And the response basically is an object that will contain our HTML, everything that is necessary to create the HTML response that the user will get back. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to basically show you the very basic example. In this case, by sending this response context with this template, and the template was the one that was inside the templates folder that I opened a few minutes ago, it will be enough to produce a result. So if I'm going back to my sandbox folder, and I'm doing test service, and here I had to type whatever the subject would type in the subject, whatever the user would type in the subject line. So in this case, it's frase and test service, and that will give me the response. So in here, you can see now that this is the text that will be sent to the template, and that is the exact text I was showing on the template. And this text has variable slots. So you have a variable called variable1, and another one called variable2, and another one called variable3. And all those slots will be replaced by variables you will be sending. So those variables you're sending into an array that basically is a combination of variable name and variable value, variable name and variable value, and so on. And that array is being passed to the new response object you create. So in the response object, you're going to tell which is the template you're going to use, which has to be a valid template inside the templates folder. And then what is the array of values, what is the array of parameters and values you're going to be passing. So I first create my response, then I give a subject to my response, and this step is not mandatory, but it's recommended. So I'm going to call it idea, and then I'll be telling to go to my basic TPL and pass the array. So this won't change anything. What we want to do now is connecting to the site, getting a new phrase, getting a new code, and passing it to the template by using one of these variables. So to connect to a website, we have a system called GUID, which basically allows you to browse the website, and I'm going to uncomment it here. Using web, basically you can crawl the website in the same way you'll be doing jQuery. So it's really powerful, and I have an example already set up. And the only thing that you have to do is connect to the client, uncomment it, and you connect to the client, then create a new crawler. In here you have to put the address of the website you want to connect. And the website is this one. So I'm going to cut this out, and I'm going to paste it here. And let me show you what the website is so you'll see what I'm doing here. So I'm going to find now a filter, so something to filter by. Let me show you how to do it. So this is the website. What I'm going to do, I copy the URL and paste it to connect to the URL. And now I'm going to use my inspector to search for an element. And I see here that we have a class called CPWCTA. I'm going to search for that element. And inside the CTA, we have a tag, which has the text that we want. So I'm going to go back to my Sublime. And in my Sublime, I'm going to use this class, space A. So basically, I'm going to be saying a link element, which is inside the PCTA class. And I'm going to print out the result. And let me go back to my browser, just to show you when I refresh my browser, because I print out and exited, you have the result there. So that's the result I'm going to use to pass it to my template. So that's what I'm going to do. So again, this result, and I'm going to create a variable called quote, and I'm going to pass my quote. And then I also need the quote and the author. And I'm going to do the same for the author. I'm going to go to this website, and I'm going to find the author, and it says inside this class here, and it's called CPWDE, and it's another part, and it's another A element. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to jump to my here, and I'm going to get the text of the author, and then I'm going to do the same author and author. And that should be all. I don't want to pass any more variables. Now I have two variables, quote and author, and the only thing that I have to do is go into my basic, and I'm going to replace it here. So I'm going to put frase del día, so quote of the day, and here inside my paragraph is where I'm going to place my quote, and then maybe I want to do another paragraph, which I want to be small. And I get rid of all this, and here I'm going to place my author. If I save this, now I go to the page and I refresh it, you're gonna see how this is now pulling the face of the quote of the day, straight from the internet, and we have done it in less than 10 minutes. Thank you for watching.